actually, and somebody who will be able to give some sort of answer to that, I guess, and has been very critical. He's been in both central and local government. In fact, he's responsible in large part for the reason that under sixes, in fact, he is responsible for the reason that under sixes got free healthcare when he was the Associate Minister of Health. Boy, he had to fight Bill English for that. He's gone on to a distinguished local government career, and he lives in Hawke's Bay. He's been a member of the Hawke's Bay Regional Council, usually tops the poll there. And he is our first guest for today, Hawke's Bay Regional Councillor Neil Kirton. Neil, welcome to the show, mate. Merry Christmas to you and Diana and the boys. How are things in the Bay?
Oh, look, great, Michael. Yes, and Merry Christmas to you and to yours. A bit of a dull day today. We're used to 25 to 30 degree temperatures, and we're down to about 19 now. It's a disgrace, really. Someone should be held accountable for that.
There should be an inquiry. Oh, well, listen, yeah. Can I, the reason I've got Neil on is yesterday we were talking about regional councils, and we talked to Reheta Stoltz, the Mayor of Gisborne, and we united the Unitary Authority Gisborne. And we were talking to Mayor Stoltz yesterday, Neil, about regional councils banding together in the face of a threat, a legal threat from insurers, to hold them accountable for their infrastructure and the quality of, as a result of insurers, and we don't know which one, going to the High Court and suing the Bay of Plenty Regional Council for damage that they had to pay out for related to a cyclone that had caused flooding and property destruction in Edgecombe 7 years ago, 2017.
Mm.
And obviously regional councils have got, well, I got a notice from our chairman, not our chairman, our chief executive on Friday, saying they're all banding together because this is dreadful, and this will become a precedent, and regional councils will get sued by insurers if they are not up to scratch. Mayor Stoltz was saying how dreadful this all was, and I don't know what the aim is, but it appears they want the government to intervene. I don't know how. Perhaps with legislation, perhaps with funding, I don't know. You'd be aware of the issue. I said yesterday, Neil, and this is the reason I'm talking to you, I used you as an example. I said, I know a regional councillor who railed for years prior to Cyclone Gabriel at the inadequate state, A, of flood banks in his region, and B, that City Council had decided to build a subdivision over the objections, it would appear, of the Regional Council, which obviously was then flooded, and all the damage accrued to that as a consequence. They built on a floodplain. You were that councillor. You were the little boy who, said the emperor's got no clothes. Do you think the insurance councils are looking at people like you as potential witnesses for their particular legal action, Neil?
I'm sure they'll be. I'm sure they will be, Michael, circling like buzzards as we speak. If you like, ambulance chases really coming after the regional council, for example. Stepping back for it, I do think there needs to be a measure of accountability by councils. It's simply not good enough to say, we're doing everything we can when the obvious is there in front of us.
Yeah.
We've got that with communities in around Whirinaki area. The Esk Valley, as you'll know, was badly impacted. We've got other areas where building took place in clear breach of known hazards. Those councils proceeded to issue those consents for those buildings. I've got some sympathy for those planners and around that, and that the courts, the Environment Court in particular, has upheld applications when clearly there wasn't. There were plenty of grounds to deny those consents. So it's a complex beast, but at the end of the day, councils have district plans. They have the power and capacity to limit building in hazardous areas, and I'm afraid to say a number of them haven't done that, including those in the Hawke's Bay area. There needs to be an accountability mechanism of some description, and I'm sure that the insurance entities will pursue that with some vigour.
You've raised an issue, and I think, and understandably so, of a controversial site for subdivisions at a place called Riverbend Road in Napier, where a 660 residential house development is being planned or proposed. It's flooded twice in 3 years. It's on a critical flood path. You've said you don't build there. The Napier City Council intend to do so. How does this end up? Is it simply end up in the Environment Court? And as you say, the Environment Court tends to go with the council that's seeking the permission?
Well, in regard to the Riverbend Road development, it's probably bigger than that. That's only one part of that development, in the vicinity of 2,000 homes to be built in that general area. You probably know it, the sort of area south of Maranui and Piramine, those environs. So you imagine 2,000 houses with all that roof, all of that paving, etc. That water's got to go somewhere. It's the lowest point of Napier, and yet our Napier City Council has acceded to that and suggests that they can mitigate that massive amount of water coming into that zone in an extreme weather event. It simply makes no sense whatsoever to locate houses there. It's foolhardy, it's folly, and that would be a prime example where insurers would say, look, that just makes no sense at all. You're liable for that, and we would get what we deserved as a city in terms of facing that potential flood liability from insurers. We're the master of our destiny in this case. We've got a future development strategy for the Hawke's Bay region, and we set objectives for it. The first thing that they do is to overlook their own objectives and agree to put it into the future development strategy. Makes no sense at all.
The interesting thing about this is, and how ironic, that the person who's having a go at the Wellbeing's been removed from the Local Government Act is the current leader of the opposition, Chris Hipkins. But it was his minister, wasn't it, David Parker, in that particular case, who fast-tracked the development plan in Napier in 2021 to address, quote-unquote, the city's urgent need for housing. So it was Labour that in actual fact gave that the say-so, the Environment Minister, David Parker.
Yes, there's lots of irony in it, Michael, because the plan is for low-cost social housing in that zone. You and I know that Māori will live in those houses. They'll be the first affected. They are the ones that won't have insurance. Those are the ones that will suffer the consequences of this. And yet they are the ones that a Labour government was prepared to throw under the bus in the advancement of some housing development in that zone. Makes no sense whatsoever. Plenty of opportunities elsewhere, and yet this is where we land.